Hey, Reb here. Rebecca. Just not Becky. And Albert. And Poppy. Hello. So, I am so tired and I feel kind of wrecked. So, this is what you get today. You get what you get. What? You don't throw a fit. Yeah, I can't even say it. You get what you get and you don't throw a fit, okay? But, so I'm ripping my rainbow husband, not do it again, because I didn't have the energy to do a dang thing this morning. I had the energy to gather up a whole bunch of plants and put my camera on a tripod and get half dressed. I mean, I have pants on, but they're my pajama pants still, so deal with it. Okay? As my dear friend Rachel says, deal with it, Pickle. Okay? And my tripod is on my land snail enclosure, and it's really high. So in order to not look completely ridiculous, I am sitting on a throne of 2 pillows, and I've already fallen off once and took a nosedive, and I had to try to nosedive and catch myself over a whole bunch of plants to not squash all the plants and break them. So don't be surprised if I fall, because I am very clumsy, and especially when I am this tired. It's my Saturday. I know it's Monday, but it's my Saturday, because my Saturday's Monday and my Sunday's Tuesday. It's been a long week. I'm tired. And I've been feeling a bit down and out lately, and I don't know exactly why. I don't think it's just the 2020 thing. Maybe it is. I don't know. But anyway, this is what you're getting. And I'm wearing one of my sweatshirts. There's this one and there's a few others. I always, I don't talk about my merch much, but I got some. You can go to Teespring and see all of that. And then I'm going to mention this because I haven't, I don't think, before. Oh, crap, I dropped it. I have stickers. They're on my Etsy store to make it easier. I have a party one. It's holographic. Hollow! It's really hard to see in this light. Oh, man. You can't see it at all. No, you can't, because it's party. It's this design on holographic stuff. I've got my Green-Hearted Crusader one. And that one's clear. Everywhere what's white, it's clear. So it's kind of like one of those create your own ending books. You can make the sticker look however you want, put it on whatever color you want, and that's what the sticker looks like. And then I have a new one that's an Albert sticker. Bam! Love wins. That's what he always says. Love wins, because it does. So that's the new one, because I have a whole bunch of people who are always like, I want merch with Albert. So then I also, with that same design, got pins. Look, it's really small, so it's going to be hard to see. But they're little acrylic pins. See? Boom. But I got a handful of these. A handful. So we'll just say that they're rare. We'll say they're uncommon pins. I got a handful. Literally a handful of these. So they're not even up on my store yet. So they're coming. But there's only a handful of them. Okay, so that's that. Now let's just get on with this damn video, shall we? So this video is my DIY plant collection. And I brought a whole ton of plants over here. And then I'm going to have to put them all away. Now, it's not all of them, because there's a few that are in places that are either hard to get, or if I brought them over, they would surely break. Oh, by the way, I forgot, I lost my dongle someplace, so I couldn't use my mic. So this sound is also get what you get. Poor audio, whatever. So you'll hear my squeaky couch, and you'll hear my humidifier, and you'll hear the noisy fridge. Again, dill with it, pickle. Okay, so what I mean by DIY plants are plants that I've made from propagations and have grown into plants. So free plants. Some of them are still propagating, they're still propagating. All right. Now, like I said, there's a few that are not over here, and there's a lot of them. So a lot of them I may have forgotten because I have a lot of plants. You know, I'm at like 200. So if you see something you gave me as a cutting and it's not here, don't worry. It is here someplace. It's not gone because I haven't lost really many propagations. Knock on wood. Oh, that hurt. Okay. So I'm just going to start somewhere. And there's tons of things I have propagated and given away, which is the best thing about propagating plants. You can give gifts. And for poor people like me, it's a great way to give gifts because you don't have to spend money. So here, this is a red log peperomia. My friend Sue gave me a cutting, and I don't know when she gave it to me, but it was at least a year ago. She gave me a cutting that was about... Now, again, I was going to go find pictures of all of these when I got them and insert them, but do you know how much work that would be? A lot. And did I mention how tired and not so great I've been feeling lately? So no, I'll just go like this. This is about how big it was. And now it looks like this. And it's the coolest peperomia. And it's just bizarre looking and weird. And the back of the leaves are very, very red, and the front are green, and it has really cool pattern to them. I wonder if, see how, this one's a really good example of the structure of how they look, because they're usually really tight together, and then they stack like a log. But right now they're all getting so much light that they're sticking straight out because they're getting really nice light. But the color is like this really cool emerald green with this really bright burgundy. They're very early 90s. And you can tell it's happy because look at that I'm tired. Look at the flower. And so this has started out as one little stem about this long. This is not it because I have cut this plant and given it to people. I have cut it and stuck it back in. I have taken leaf propagations and laid them all over in a pot and stuck it in my cookie jar. So this has been repropagated a ton of times. This is the red log peperomia, a DIY plant. Oh my God, there's plants everywhere. Jeez. You're gonna get lots of looks at my back fat today. Congratulations. Mean girls come at me. Woo. Okay, some baby succulents in a planter painted by my daughter. She was doing a bee theme. These are all little baby jades and succulents that had come out of various things. So we planted those together when they were very, very tiny, and now they are pretty big and full. But they were all ones that came off of little leaf propagations. And now you can see that they have gotten quite tall. This used to be a little tiny plant, and then it grew really long. And then we cut it off and stuck it back in, because these fall off really easy. But it has gotten very long again. But the ones in here are all... Oops, see, they fall off easy. Blue, succulent, leaf propagations, and jade babies. They take off. Speaking of jade, this is my very favorite propagated plant. This is my jade. It has a very thick Oh, I hope you're going to be able to see the stem in there. Oh, it's going to be hard to see. God, where can you see it? There. Can you see how thick that stem is in there? The main trunk. This started from a tiny cutting about this long from a friend when I moved into this apartment. So we'll be coming up on 2 years ago now. Almost, it'll be 2 years ago, right? Oh, almost now. So about 2 years ago, this was a little jade cutting this long. And now, ignore these little babies because those are separate. This little baby and this little baby. Everything else, this whole trunk from here up and these shoots, that all came from a tiny little cutting that I literally just stuck in the dirt. Isn't it amazing? This thing is heavy. I love this jade plant so much I can't even tell you. It's one of my very favorite plants in my collection. I am hoping that someday that's going to be some huge, massive, like 30-year-old jade plant that I can pass down to my daughters when I croak. Because in 30 years I will be 77. Okay, let's make that 40 years. Okay, these are all succulent cuttings, except for one. This was one I bought. These, I think it's called Baby's Necklace. Those were all little cuttings that came along as extras in a purchase I made from Kel's Succulent Shop on Etsy. She's amazing. I love her. It's time to purchase something from her again. These three, I'm told, are called hot dog plants. Were cuttings from my friend Sue. So these were 3 little pieces about this, I keep doing it in the back, this long, and I just stuck them in the soil, and then they all split off and are splitting again. These hot dogs were each one hot dog. I think there were 3 hot dogs, and they've gotten very, very tall. Yeah, oh, and there's one more of these little baby things that it broke off, so I stuck it back in there. Sue, same Sue, she's a local plant friend who is lovely. She's into African violets. I've never had violets before. She gave me several leaves to try propagating a while ago. So I stuck them in a little like enclosed terrarium. And she told me just stick them in soil at a little like 45-degree angle so that the leaf was up in the air but the stem was at an angle, which was this big leaf. And now I have this African violet. Okay, I know nothing about African violets, but it was fun to propagate them. She gave me, there's 2 little miniature African violets in here. Same thing, those were each one little tiny baby leaf. All I know about them is that you don't touch the water to the leaves. Same story. I am going to say this was last fall that she gave these to me. Maybe coming up on a year ago. That's probably what I'm going to say. That they all started off as 1 leaf in a little terrarium. This DIY plant, these pillows are not as comfortable. I almost squashed them. As comfortable as you would think. Okay. This burgundy ripple peperomia started as a 1-leaf cutting off of my large burgundy ripple peperomia, and it has grown into a very full, very pretty 4-inch pot. And that one I started in water. I took 1 leaf off, 1 petiole right by the stem, And I'm trying to get the light, which is over here. So I took one leaf off, way where the petiole touches the stem, and I stuck it in water and waited until there were a few leaves popping up, and then I stuck it in a tiny little pot of soil. And now we have this, and it did not take all that long. I'm going to give it away to a friend. These are all little fallouts from my giant rickrack. Little pieces that broke off, or I had to break off, or fell off. They're not pretty, but they will be someday. And all I did with them was stick them in soil. So, see, you're wondering, why are the roots out on top, Reb? Why? That seems really stupid of you. You put them in backwards. Well, there were a whole bunch of roots at the other end too. So I put what was connected to the piece that it came off of. But they have roots all the way up. So don't worry, they're aerial roots. So all of these are already nice and rooted, except for this one piece. But all the others are rooted in there, so we are good. All I did was stick them in soil. So once that starts going, that's actually gonna go to Pam from Pammy's Pretty Plants. Pammy's Planty Things. Pammy's Planty Things. God, I get all the Pams goofed up, even though, you know, she's my best friend. So it's ugly now, but it'll be pretty someday. So that if you watched my video on my huge rickrack, that was not long ago, and it's already all nice and solid in there. This beautiful lemon lime philodendron, the upright kind, was given to me as a fresh cutting from my friend Dylan. Leaves and Lashes on Instagram. He and Sue are my local plant friends. The three of us are a little gang. He gave it to me as a fresh cutting not all that long ago. It was about this tall. Like, it just had the bottom few leaves. And now I water propagated that one. Just had it sitting in one of my propagation jars that I have hanging up. And it rooted up pretty darn quickly. And then once it had roots about this long, I just potted her up. In a smaller pot, I just had to repot it because it was coming out the bottom. And she's been throwing off really nice sized leaves. Look at that. And there's a huge one coming. So I let it dry out absolutely completely. Way too much, and the leaves curl up, and then I soak her up. Which were little cuttings from the floor of the greenhouse at work at the university. I don't know what kind of succulent this is, but the leaves are so fuzzy. It looks sort of like that red log peperomia, but without the red parts. So anyway, I love it. Oh, my coffee is filled with perlite, but I'm still gonna drink it in just a second. Oh, come on. I don't know if you're focused or not, because I don't have my glasses on to be able to see, but I think it is. Isn't that pretty? It's like that emerald green. It's so pretty, but it still has just like a bright limey green back, and it is fuzzy. It's not a soft fuzzy, but it's fuzzy. And they're very thick and succulent. Cute. Those I just stuck into soil to propagate. This is a begonia that I started from one leaf, and it now has beautiful little leaves. I do not know what kind of begonia this is. I started this one in sphagnum moss, and then once it had a couple little leaves, don't focus on Adam's merch right now. Once it had a couple little leaves, I potted it right up into soil, and they're still a little growing. Cute, right? Is this adorable little mini mo begonia. It's my first miniature begonia. My friend Sue, again, whose collection is amazing, and she's hugely into begonias, gave me this. Ooh, it's going to be hard to see because it's black. But this adorable little mini Mo begonia. And she gave me a chunk of the rhizome, so a rhizomatic cutting, which was this one large leaf. Well, large, it's this big, okay? And a piece of rhizome about this big. So the second tiny leaf, which is right here, tiny, popped up a week later, and I was like, because that was the first rhizomatic cutting I'd ever had. But there weren't any roots on the rhizome. They're starting to form. But so that's the difference between growth when you do a leaf cutting on a begonia or a rhizomatic cutting on a begonia. How cool is that? You get leaves so fast, but the roots take longer to form. Interesting. This syngonium was what got me into syngoniums. It's just a pretty basic, plain, like green syngonium, but it was a cutting I got at a plant swap. And it was little. I don't remember. I think, oh, I do remember. It had one leaf and one coming. And it was just a cutting, and I put it in water until it rooted. And then I potted it up, and I was like, I don't want this plant. I don't like syngoniums. But once it started growing, I fell in love. It was one of my first true propagations. Now it has not grown fast. It's still just, here's top of the pot, right, to my hand. It's not huge, but something about it I fell in love with. I think because it was one of my first true propagations, and it made me fall in love with syngoniums, right? So, stop. So this was the very first leaf. Stop. That was the very first leaf. I have never lost a leaf. And I love it. So water propped that first propagation for you. This amazing plant, which I love, was also from Sue at a plant swap. I got it on September 15th of last year. So it's almost its plant anniversary. It, she said, is a Cuban oregano plant, which you'd think means it's like an herb, but I do not think you would use it for cutting or for cooking because it's the softest plant I've ever touched in my life. It feels like a teddy bear. Anyway, this plant, when she gave me the plant, was this tall. This tall. Now, this tall. And this wide. Look, oh, sorry. This wide. And 2 weeks from now, it'll be its plant anniversary. I love this plant. Okay. So with some patience, a year later, you can have a huge plant. This would be my Monstera siltepecana from Pam at Pammy's Planty Things. How about that? So she gave me a stem, a nice long stem, but I decided I was going to cut it into pieces. Every leaf was going to be a different piece with, you know, the stem and the petiole, right, making a T. And then I was going to propagate each one so that eventually I could have a full pot and that each of them could vine. Look at the leaves. Gosh, look at them. Oops. more stuff in my coffee. I mean, it's amazing, right? So anyway, I put them in moss then, and put them in sphagnum moss, and then I set the container open right by my humidifier, so the humidifier mist landed right on it. And within a couple of weeks, they were already rooted, and now within just a couple of weeks later, I have new leaves coming up. Hold on. There. One coming out of the soil there. And where is it? Here. A new leaf unfurling. So look at how fast that happened. Another of my very favorite plants is this very simple Thanksgiving cactus. It's very sun stressed right now from being outside. You're like, Reb, that's such a small Christmas or Thanksgiving cactus. But this whole thing started again from the same person when I moved into this apartment, and it was a cutting 2 segments long. So from here, from here to here. Here to here, and it's already this big, and it blooms it has bloomed each year, even when it was just 2 segments big. Crazy. I just love it because I started it and grew it from nothing. DIY plant. This one is a black cardinal philodendron. This was a cutting again from Dylan. And this is the only one I'm not 100% sure if it had roots or not. I do not believe it did. So I'm going to go fast and say, I don't remember 100%. But I just repotted it. It had been sitting in the tiniest of little pots in my greenhouse pretty much all summer, growing up to this. It's hard to get back on the pillows. Okay. In my pink fish, can you see the pink fish? Cute, isn't he? Is this adorable little begonia that I can't ID, and even Rachel didn't know what it was. So then you know it's a real mystery. But I started this from a leaf cutting not all that long ago. And I would say I put this leaf cutting in sphagnum moss maybe 2 to 3 months ago, if that. Probably closer to 2 months ago. And we are already up to all of this, and there are tons of new little leaves coming in there. Can you see the babies? But it's got this really pretty blush color underneath. Probably best to see it there. Super cute. All right, this is another one that I think is some sort of beefcake, right? But I don't know exactly. Yeah, no, this is a beefcake. This is a sexy beefcake begonia. Look at those muscles, yeah. Beefsteak from my friend Sue. So maybe that other one wasn't a beefsteak. Yeah, I don't know, but this is one. I believe she also gave me part of the stem or the rhizome because it started up really fast. Or maybe she had this one, she had already put this one in water, but it's doing amazing. Yep, is my pride and joy. This is my begonia racinifolia or begonia immense, the one that I started from a leaf cutting, and I've shown it before. And I put that leaf cutting in water in April, waited like 2 months till June before I got my first little leaf coming out of sphagnum moss. Did I say water or sphagnum moss? I put the leaf cutting in sphagnum moss in a little closed terrarium. In April, I got my first couple of little leaves in June, and now I have this. And I want to try to show you if you can see how thick and hairy those stems are. I hope you can. And the beautiful red tips. And the new leaves come so pretty. Whereas if you can see in to the center. It's just amazing. I love it. It's very full in a 6-inch pot. And this thing will get humongous. I've seen pictures of these where they're just massive. And the blossoms that these get in supposedly the winter time are out of this world. Okay, I think we only have about 6 left. Who hasn't done a spider plant, right? I've got a million of them. I'm totally into spider plants. They remind me of something in my childhood, and someone in my childhood. So I've got all the different varieties, I think. There's a couple I think I don't have, but I have most of them. So this one needs water desperately. It's very floppy, but one of my variegated ones that I've started from babies. Yep, I've given a million away. I was really close. All right, these are 2 really amazing begonias I got cuttings of recently from my friend Sue. These were in sphagnum moss until they started getting roots. And they started putting off new growth. They're cane begonias. So cane begonias, you have to have part of the cane. You can't just do a leaf. So once they start getting roots, then pretty soon after they start putting out new growth out of the top, and then you can just pop them right in soil. And these were very fast. Cane begonias are so easy to root. Look at the size of these leaves and gorgeous red backs. Yeah, gorgeous. And then this one, look at the size. It was the same way. Just another cane begonia. Just stunning. It's got this beautiful blushy pink back too. This is my dogtail cactus. I got this in July of 2019, so a little over a year ago, from my friend Sue. It was 3 little cuttings. They were just little segments, so like that long, a few different of these segments, and now look at this full plant. Isn't it gorgeous? I love it. Love this plant. Here's one that should not have been a cutting, but turned out that it was. This was supposed to be a fully rooted plant. It was expensive. It was from an Etsy shop. And as it turned out, when I said, God, this plant is not doing well at all, and I paid a lot of money for this, I took it out to look at the roots. There were almost no roots. Whatever roots had been there, had obviously grown since it was in the pot. So this one was soil propagated unintentionally, but now is doing fantastic. This is a philodendron by Penifolian Golden Violin or Aurea. Yeah, so this was the plant that I did for a giveaway from me for Rainy and Grace's charity Plants for Preemies. I bought 2 of this for the giveaway, one to give away to the winner and one to keep for me as a memory. The other one had beautiful roots. This one had next to no roots. So this is the one I kept. Thank God it did root, but unintentionally it rooted in soil. So there you have it. They can root in soil. It just gets dicey for a while, in my experience. One of my other favorite plants in my collection. This is the grape ivy, or Cissus rhombifolia. Okay, let go. It's like a needy dog, like Albert. It grips onto you all the time. This started as the tiniest of little cuttings. Look at how awesome this plant is. This was in June of 2019. The cuttings were about this big, and I water propagated them until they had a nice little root system. Then I potted them up, and now here we are. And then when the new leaves come in, it's just the cutest little curly Q. And then they do the whole, since they're actually in the grape, cissus are in the grape family, when they come in, they do the whole curly Q thing like that. And they grab onto everything. I love them. I just got from Sue a cutting of her oak leaf cissus. Yeah. And that one's even cooler. Love it. And one last plant. Here's the one. Here's the oak leaf one. Isn't it awesome? That last one was smaller than this. So this one will be even faster. I'll just sit there. This one is in desperate need of water, which is why it's really droopy. But this is, if you've followed my Instagram at all, which is plantastica.greenheart, you've seen the progress of this. This is a mystery well, I always called it my mystery plant, but it's some sort of monstera. We think it's the bee one. She's a bee, she's a monstera bee. Borsigiana, yeah, Borsigiana. Unless I see it, I can't say it. Anyway, turns out it all rooted. I first started rooting it in water, and boy did it not like water. So then I took it out and I put it in moss. And it took a long time, but finally roots came, and then I put it in soil, and then it took a long time, and finally this summer it started out putting new leaves, and once it started, it has not slowed down. I have it outside. So this was, before I started getting a leaf, it was over 8 months. Yep. So the original leaves looked like this and like this. Okay, and now it is covered in new leaves all over the place. And there's new leaves coming. There's new stems coming. It's got killer aerial roots. Yeah. So I know it's very droopy. Ignore. It needs water badly. But I am very excited about this. Yeah, it's a good one. Let's take a drink of some very crunchy coffee. Oh my gosh, it's everywhere. All right, I know this was very long. All right, thanks so much for helping? Thanks so much for hanging out with me and taking a look at all my DIY plants. I just thought it would be fun to see how much your plants can grow if you just are patient, and that's so hard when you get a cutting and you're like, I don't want another cutting, I want a plant. But if you truly are patient, you will end up with a very full plant when you get a tiny cutting. And it only really, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, a year to get this from this, when you can do it yourself from pretty much from nothing, and all of a sudden you have this, and it's a sense of accomplishment, and it's special because it came from someone else. And this, I've never seen this in the store. I've never seen this in a nursery. I've never seen this on an online plant shop. Not that I've been looking for it, but I've never seen one. And it's the softest plant I've ever felt in my life, yet the leaves are really, really thick. I mean, and it smells incredible. And I don't like the smell of oregano, so it doesn't smell really like oregano. It smells florally too. So it's incredible. It's just cool and different and big. So, I mean, be patient and enjoy the process and try different ways of propagating, and be a fake scientist. Be a pretend botanist. It's fun. Yeah, and then you have a bunch of really special plants. So do it. Play around and do some DIY plants. Yeah, be a DIYer. Why? Why DIY? Because it's fun and you can do it. Oh my God. Are my dogs in the frame? They're not. They're being really cute. I'm not going to disturb them. So anyway, we all say that we hope you have a plantastic day, and remember to be kind, and remember, love wins. It always wins. And go check out Not Dude stuff, because it's the best stuff ever. Okay? All right. Bye. We love you.